una melodía que es más alto que esto.
As music evolves, so do the people who make it. Composer Gabriela Frank defines her life by telling stories through the music that she designs for orchestras all over the world. Mestiza in Spanish means mix. Mestiza music is a term she uses to describe her style, a mixed culture wrapped in a musical composition. Striving to take her understanding of people and culture to the same level of perfection found in the music she creates, Gabriela travels the world in search of inspiration. Channeling her proud heritage, Gabriela's Western classical compositions often reflect the sounds of South America. Something about her music always takes those listening on a journey. Her newest composition, Compadre Huashayo, is the result of just one of these journeys. A Western classical piece custom designed for Ecuador's native instrumentation. The rhythms of Ecuador play out as they have for centuries, through her people, and the world is taking note.
Doesn't matter where you're from, you're all doing music, you're already a family. There's already this connection and hospitality. But then that is part of Andean culture. There's a gentleness to mountain culture that is widely recognized in Latin America.
Gabriela Frank has taken on a tough assignment. One of the first Northern American composers to score a symphony made up entirely of native Ecuadorian instruments. With only 4 months to complete, there is much to be done. For this music must represent an entire nation.
Every day, more North Americans are coming to retire to Ecuador. The dollar goes further.
U.S. Ambassador to Ecuador, Adam Nam, strongly believes that music is a cultural bridge, a way to communicate and bring people together.
We're interchanging people, interchanges of music. The U.S. is Ecuador's largest trading partner, and all of those are very important connections that the two countries share.
A blues musician himself, Ambassador Nam was excited to support the creation of this new music in partnership with the Intake organization.
Thank you. Enjoy Ecuador.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Intake stands for Instrumentally Native Taken on the Classics. Our mission is to promote classical music through the use of native instruments.
Plans for this inspired Western classical composition, designed for an Ecuadorian orchestra, were underway.
The harmonies start to emerge. I can hear it. Chirango player can do this. I know.
Quito's Orquesta de Instrumentos Andinos was selected to premiere this new music to the world.
La Orquesta de Instrumentos Andinos The Andean Instrument Orchestra was created because of immense need to answer the question of Ecuadorian and Latin American music development. We were able to capture this dream by imitating the formation of an European orchestra with our own instrument, but we had to invent absolutely everything.
After the project is complete, the orchestra will have a piece of music specifically scored for them. República del Ecuador, or Republic of the Equator, lies in South America on the equator, bordered by the Pacific Ocean, Colombia, and Peru. Various climates and habitats are represented here. Vast mountain ranges with urban communities and farms spread out for hundreds of miles. Quito, Ecuador is the highest capital city in the world. With crowded streets sprawling the east side of an active volcano. It is the most populated city in the nation, with over 2.2 million residents. An energy of pride, vibrant and alive. Ecuador is a land of hard workers. People always on the move. There is always work to be done. And that goes for the musicians too. In Ecuador, musicians often make their own instruments. Zampoñas and quenas. Like small-town celebrity Julian Tucumbi. Musician and instrument maker. Julian maintains a modest life with his wife, who has always been at his side, making clothing from wool as he played on his own handcrafted instruments.
My life is very, very excited, very happy. Music is life to me. Music is to make my heart happy. Music is the illumination of my path, and to me, music is the flourish of the cliff flower that brightens my heart. When I play music, I even want to cry because of the emotion.
Even further from the capital, in the remote farming village of Chota, instruments are scarce. La Banda Mocha, a popular town band, uses lemon leaves and large gourd-like seeds from the jungle as instruments to bring the sounds of celebration to the village square, where as a family, residents share in the joys of making their own music.
And these leaf blowers that we saw were just amazing. First of all, the projection of volume they could achieve was outstanding, that they could really project over a battery of percussion instruments. And then they could actually really control the pitches, so they were all roughly in key and in sync with one another and really listening to one another as well.
It is music like this at the center of what Gabriela wants to capture. A sound that provides a sense of ownership. a sound that the Orquesta de Instrumentos Andinos will be proud to premiere to the world.
Today we're here in Quito, Ecuador, and we had a workshop with Gabriela Frank, composer, and the Orquesta of Instrumentos Andinos of Quito.
The first meeting with the orchestra was a long day, getting to know the musicians, getting a feel for their abilities and styles.
Me llamo Eduardo Herrería.
I was born in Quito.
Me llamo Patricio Mantilla Ortega.
I'm the director of the Andean Instrument Orchestra.
I got started in music by my family.
Comencé a tocar los instrumentos andinos.
When I started to play Andean instruments, starting with the zampoñas, later the charango, then the guitar.
Well, when I first walked into the building, the first thing I heard was just from deep in the building sounds.
Every single second it was like, oh, I love this sound. Oh, I like this one better.
In one sense, it's both very messy in that you just throw personalities into this cauldron of experiences and interactions, and yet it's very specific in that we're going to distill everything into a tight composition of music.
De resonancia, justamente con tres cuerdas suenan más que con dos o con una.
By listening and evaluating the players, Gabriela begins to get a sense of instrument range for the piece she will create.
Maybe this instrument is something that I need to really study carefully. It's going to be a challenge when I'm writing for this instrument to make sure that they're heard, where the balance is correct.
Gabriela must use her time here wisely. She only has a week with her musicians before it's back to the normal grind in North America.
Within the first 15, 20 minutes of the workshop, I was already exhausted because I was already trying to absorb so much.
While the musicians work, Gabriela's mother, Sabina, a native Peruvian, traces instruments onto paper. With these drawings, Gabriela can visualize the actual instrument used in each section of the native orchestra.
Sol y de, okay.
Although the goal is to design a piece for native instrumentation, it must be flexible so it can also be played by a traditional orchestra. In Ecuador, guitars and mandolins replace violins and cellos, horns and woodwinds with panpipes and cana flutes.
They had congas, they had a marimba, they had other finger kinds of percussion. I need to give their instrument the same respect that I give to instruments I have already worked with.
An interesting setup, to say the least. And this is no easy task, to create this music for the premiere in November. Months to create a piece that will live in the G. Schirmer Library forever. At the end of the first week, the team attended one of the orchestra's scheduled performances.
First thing I feel is a great deal of responsibility. For me, just hearing them and getting a visual is extremely important before we get to my music or to my questions. Often my questions, first of all, are answered by just watching them play what they are already performing.
One big surprise was when the orchestra's director, Patricio Mantilla Ortega, turned from his conducting to make music with his beautiful voice. This would provide Gabriela with one more unexpected instrument to work with.
They have it all. And what's really amazing is that they have a lot of hidden talents as well. Many of them are really excellent singers. I mean, the conductor just blew me away. This is all grist for the mill. It gives me information for what I can capitalize on, and I was taking notes furiously. I wasn't a very good audience member in one way because I had my clipboard out and was writing down notes about what I can use for the music that I'm going to be writing for them. So it's very exciting, very exciting. These guys smile and they move and they look at one another when they play. And this is really infectious. The audience picks up on it immediately. So we need to design now a beautiful evening of music that is not meant to be static only for that evening. It's meant to travel and get out into the world. And I'll start doing this in California.
In the course of the following months, conductor Alejandra Urrutia worked with the orchestra. As Gabriela sent music from the United States.
En mi opinión, necesitamos por lo general todos los champañas.
Time passes on two hemispheres, northern and southern, as the experiences and sounds of Ecuador inspire the music. Compadre Huashayo. Only one additional trip was made before the opening night premiere. The focus would have to be to hammer out all the kinks, make tweaks where necessary, and promote the show. Ambassador Nam got into the spirit, hosting a concert at his residence where he played a traditional pasacalle with Gabriela, infused with a little blues.
Well, I wish it was part of the job requirements for every ambassador to have to take an audition and show off some musical chops. I mean, this guy can play. You know, he can play.
The beauty about this project is that everything is new. I feel that I am an instrument to something bigger.
As the Quito music community anxiously awaits the opening, the orchestra toils in the theater to get the music down. The piece is complicated, and for many, a stretch to play.
Before joining the orchestra, we had to develop by ourselves. There are no Andean instrument schools.
Yeah, you always need more challenges to improve yourself. And with your works, we are being really challenged. That's why we dedicate time to it as much as we can.
It is always good when new people come, new ideas that help us develop more, the instruments we're playing. To read the score, we had to study how to arrange ourselves. Musicians will have to coordinate to play one piece. That's why we needed to make this instrument to play solos.
For some, even establishing a music career in Ecuador is insurmountable.
Wherever they need us. Back then, when it was wherever will call us, wherever we'll play.
The challenge, even greater for Marco. Learning to read Braille music as his vision deteriorates.
I was starting in score, but I have a retinal deterioration. It's a progressive deterioration, so I was forced to learn to write in Braille. My sight degenerated more. That's how we develop, and my work in the orchestra is practically normal.
Normal. I will say that's because it's impressive. Imagine he memorizes all the concerts. He learns every concert by memory.
For the musicians, being a part of this project has deep meaning, tied to the feelings that come from within when they get to play.
Bueno, para mí
Well, for me, music is my way to experience myself. The way I speak with words, I speak with music, which is more universal.
la orquesta es música viva.
The orchestra is living music. That means that we gather all of our feelings and we transform it into a single way of showing the audiences what is in our heart, in our mind, in our Andean world.
Si amplificamos el correr de...
If we amplify the blood running in our veins, our lungs breathing, when we blink our eyes, we also have rhythms, we have sounds, we have vibrations. Then music is implicit in everything we see. That's what music is for me.
La música es un lenguaje tan único.
I think music provides a bridge that needs no words or other language. Music is universal language that establishes relationships that are strong. You don't need to know a specific language, you just need to feel it.
It is opening night. The show has sold out. As audience members take their seats, the players prepare to take the stage. They are energized and ready to play.
This is the world premiere of Compadre Huashayo. This is my first large-scale work for a 40-member ensemble of no classical instruments. The first movement of Compadre Huashayo is the Introducción Soliloquio, which means soliloquy. And the tone that I wanted to take was one of solemnity. The second movement is the Scherzo Quiteño. It's completely different, and it's not that tonal in its harmony. It moves very quickly, and this is the most experimental of all the movements of the 5 of Compadre Huashayo. Then the last of the 5 movements that we're doing, and this will be the 3rd movement that we're presenting, is the hechicera. And hechicera means sorceress, and it's a love song, a guy trying to get a girl.
Juré que escuché el llamado de tu sirena en el río, después de perder un día con los pájaros, reprendiendo al Creador que me exima de mi soledad. Pero aquí estás en la ciudad, mirándome de arriba abajo. Tu voz es un canto robado de pájaros. Recibiste los pasos de la cascada del río. No tienes que saber, no tienes que saber. empezó cuando puse mis manos en ti. Tú eras su amanecer que nunca se oculte el sol.
Compadre Huashayo was well received by the audience. The composition, with all of its musical intricacies, both challenged and rewarded the players who took a chance on something new.
Cuando me dieron las partituras, encontré unas cosas muy lindas. Es una obra.
When I got the scores, I found wonderful things. It's a wonderful play, very beautiful passages. Gabriela definitely draws the landscape of her intention in the play and even the name of the work.
The term Compadre Huashayo in itself is a blend of culture, part Spanish and part Quichua, the native language of Ecuador. The Huashayo is the appointed person who hires musicians to embody a specific celebration. Today, a celebration of cross-cultural partnership and friendship, compadrazgo.
For me, it's an honor, frankly, to have done this work, to have worked on Gabriela's pieces, but that there may be many more times that we can collaborate in conjunction with Gabriela and the team that has come here to Quito, Ecuador, to accomplish this work.
With a true sense of accomplishment for all involved, the project came to a close.
Well, that was amazing. No tengo palabras, I don't have words. Very beautiful.
With hope that the meaning behind this music will continue to unite cultures wherever it is played.
I think a perfect ending would be that there was no ending to it, and that the repertoire that was created winds up in the hands of other musicians who put their own interpretation on the music, continue telling the story of Compadre Huashayo and other places in the world.
El sol.
To view the full performance of Compadre Huashayo, visit WFYI.org.